President Trump refuses to accept that his Supreme Court nominee criticized his verbal attacks on federal judges. I'll ask a top Republican senator why Mr. Trump is casting doubt on remarks that were confirmed by members of his own party. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Even a top Republican congressman is now rebuking Trump's senior advisor, Kellyanne Conway, for promoting Ivanka Trump's clothing line on national television. Will she be punished while the president faces no penalty for tweeting about his daughter's business troubles? We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We're following multiple breaking stories right now, including a decision on the immediate fate of the president's controversial travel ban. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals says it will issue its ruling tonight on the Trump administration's request to reinstate the ban. This, as CNN has learned that threats have been made against more than one federal judge who heard legal challenges to the president's executive order. But we're told those judges now are receiving extra law enforcement protection. Also tonight, the White House says the president has no regrets for slamming the judge who suspended the travel ban. Members of both parties say Mr. Trump's own Supreme Court nominee has described the president's verbal attacks on judges as disheartening and demoralizing. But Mr. Trump and the White House are denying that Neil Gorsuch directly criticized the president. They're claiming that Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal misrepresented the judge's comment, even though at least 3 Republicans have publicly confirmed what Gorsuch said. Also breaking, the White House says Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway has been, quote, counseled for promoting Ivanka Trump's business on national television. There was no further explanation. Conway urged Americans to go buy Ivanka's stuff, her words, Ivanka's stuff, and talked about Nordstrom's decision to drop the first daughter's fashion line. Experts say Conway appears to have violated a rule banning executive branch employees from using their positions to endorse products. I'll talk about that and all the breaking news with Republican Senator James Lankford. He's standing by, along with our correspondents and analysts, as we bring you full coverage of the day's top stories. First, let's go to our senior White House correspondent, Jim Acosta. Jim, as we await the ruling on the travel ban, the president is engaged in a new war of words about what his U.S. Supreme Court nominee said about him.
That's right, Wolf. The White House is bracing for that ruling on the travel ban from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Aides to the president are anxiously awaiting that ruling, as the president has been highly critical of the judges handling this case. Earlier today, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer was trying to do some damage control after the president's pick for the Supreme Court, Neil Gorsuch, told senators in private conversations that Mr. Trump's comments on the judges were, quote, demoralizing. Spicer told reporters earlier today Gorsuch wasn't really criticizing the president, just speaking generally. Here's what he had to say earlier today.
The judge was very clear that he was not commenting on any specific matter, right? And then he was asked about his general philosophy. So you can't then take that, equate it back to the specific. He literally went out of his way to say, I'm not commenting on a specific instance.
But that does not line up with what a White House spokesperson told multiple news outlets, including CNN yesterday. And Spicer's statement is also at odds with senators from both parties who maintain Gorsuch was speaking specifically about the president's criticisms of these judges handling this case. Republican Senator Ben Sasse, for example, Wolf, took to the floor of the Senate earlier today to say that any attack on his, quote, brothers and sisters of the robe, referring to judges, is an attack on everybody in the judiciary. Wolf.
Jim, Sean Spicer was also asked about some comments Kellyanne Conway made earlier in the day on Fox News about Ivanka Trump. That's
right.
Tell us about that.
That's right. This all got started when White House counselor Kellyanne Conway was talking about, as you said, President Trump's defense of his daughter Ivanka on Fox News. You'll recall that the president tweeted that he was upset with the Nordstrom department store chain for dumping Ivanka's clothing line due to poor performance. Conway defended the president's tweet and encouraged viewers during this segment on Fox News to go and buy Ivanka Trump's products, making that pitch directly from the White House briefing room. The White House acknowledged that Conway made a mistake, and here's how it all played out.
Using her, who's been a champion for women empowerment, women in the workplace, to get to him. So I think people can see through that.
30
Go
seconds.
buy Ivanka's stuff is what I would tell you.
And
I hate shopping. I'm going to go get some on myself today. This is just, it's a wonderful line. I own some of it. I'm going to just give it, I'm going to give a free commercial here. Go buy it today, everybody. You can find it online.
Kellyanne has been counseled, and that's all we're going to go with.
Now, Sean Spicer did not specify what counseled meant, but we're told that the White House counsel's office did reach out to Kellyanne Conway shortly after those comments on Fox and advised her she could be in violation of federal ethics rules, and that during that conversation, Wolf, apparently she admitted her mistake, that she should not have said that on Fox earlier today.
Jim, there was another contentious moment at that briefing when Sean Spicer was asked about the president's tweets. Tell us what happened.
That's right. Well, this may have been the testiest briefing so far to date for this administration. It got testy earlier today. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer was asked about the president's tweets and why he has tweeted about certain things like his fight with Nordstrom, but not about more pressing matters like the recent terror attack on that mosque up in Quebec. Spicer fired back at that reporter who asked that question that the White House did address what happened in Quebec and got very personal with the reporter who asked the question. And here's how that played out.
What are you, you're equating me addressing the nation here in a tweet? I mean, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard.
There you go. And we hear that Spicer will be getting some relief in the coming days. Wolf, administration officials are telling us that the White House is closing in on hiring a communications director, relieving Spicer of that duty. He has been serving as both communications director and press secretary for the last 3 weeks. That is a massive load, as you know, Wolf, for anyone to handle at the start of a new administration.
It certainly is. Jim Acosta, thanks very much. Also tonight, as we await an appeals court ruling on the president's travel ban, there's new concern about the security of federal judges hearing challenges to the executive order. I want to bring in our justice correspondent, Pamela Brown. Pamela, what are you learning? What's the latest?
Well, Wolf, we're learning that from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, it's announcing tonight that it will release a ruling on whether to reinstate President Trump's travel ban very soon. This, as law enforcement sources are telling us, it has elevated security concerns for judges across the country in the wake of the legal proceedings over the travel ban. Tonight, CNN has learned threats against more than one of the federal judges who heard legal challenges to the president's travel ban have led to extra protection for those judges. For now, local law enforcement and U.S. Marshals have stepped up their security. While there's no indication recent comments by President Trump have led to the threats against the judges, his tweets did lambast the federal judge who temporarily suspended his ban, calling him a, quote, so-called judge, and putting him on notice, quote, if something happens, blame him and court system. The message was clear. If there is a terrorist attack, it's the judge's fault.
I've seen a direct correlation between negative rhetoric from politicians to increase in threats and inappropriate communications towards judicial officials.
Trump's comments on judges are raising complications for his own Supreme Court nominee, Judge Neil Gorsuch, who found himself at the center of a political firestorm after telling senators from both parties on Capitol Hill that Trump's comments were, quote, disheartening and demoralizing.
I said to Judge Gorsuch, and I believe that ordinarily a Supreme Court nominee would not be expected to comment on issues or political matters or cases that come before the court. He's been nominated by a president who has repeatedly and relentlessly attacked the American judiciary on 3 separate occasions.
A spokesman and White House liaison for Gorsuch confirmed the judge's comments, but Trump today contradicted that and blamed the media.
You misrepresented his comments totally.
I asked you what your thoughts were, sir.
His comments were misrepresented.
And White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said the judge wasn't responding to Mr. Trump's tweets.
There's a big difference between commenting on the specific comments that have been made in the tweet and his general philosophy about the judiciary and his respect for his fellow judges.
The back and forth comes as the Ninth Circuit Court is deciding whether to reinstate President Trump's travel ban.
So help me God.
Today, Trump's new Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, defended the ban.
We need a lawful system of immigration, one that serves the interests of the people of the United States. That's not wrong, that's not immoral, that's not indecent.
And White House spokesman Sean Spicer also said today the president has no regrets about the recent comments he has made about judges. Again, we're expecting a ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court any minute now. Wolf?
And once we get it, we'll share it with our viewers here in the United States and around the world. Pamela, thanks very much. Let's talk about all the